it's Christine, and if you're new to my channel, welcome. And if you're an old subscriber, welcome back. Have your cup of tea, a blanket, and settle down because today we are recounting some of my spooky stories. So the first story happens when I was a little girl. Imagine a 3 to 4 year old Christine. I am living with my family at the time. I'm living with my mom, my dad, my grandma, my aunt and my uncle, and maybe a couple other aunts and uncles. I'm not too sure, so at least 6 of us. And it seemed like an old house in my memory. I believe it was a corner house, and there were always raspberry bushes in the back in the summer, and across the street from us was a playground, and it was a pretty quiet neighborhood. So one night, I am sleeping with my parents. We didn't have a ton of money, so we pretty much just shared a lot of things, and I slept in the same room as my parents until I think we got a house. And I'm sleeping in the same room as my parents, and I don't remember if I was on the right side or between them, but it was one of those two. And I'm awoken in the middle of the night. I don't think I heard a sound or it was due to movement. I don't remember why I woke up. But when I woke up, at the end of the bed, there were 3 women. They were quite translucent, and they looked like they were out of a old black and white movie, except they were kind of blue tinged. I remember they had long black hair, and other than that blue tingy color, the only other color I remembered was one of the ladies had bright red long nails. The other 2 ladies were further in the back, and they were both playing violins, except there was no sound coming out. They seemed very quiet and reserved. These ladies didn't seem malevolent, but I was still really scared because I was a little girl and there were these random people in our bedroom, and they were translucent. Anyways, these ladies, all 3 were wearing these long white traditional Vietnamese dresses called áo dài. And I didn't know this at the time, but wearing white clothing in Vietnamese culture is often worn when there is a death in the family or a death, but also was worn as traditional school uniforms. And I think that's actually what they were. So as a little girl, I thought these ladies were much older, maybe like, adults. But looking back, I think they may have been younger, and they may have been like in their late teens. But as a little girl, that just seemed like much older to me. Anyways, these 2 ladies were playing their violins with no music coming out. And the 3rd lady, she starts approaching the end of the bed, reaching over, and she stretches her hand out and opens it up, kind of like an offering for me to come with her. And at this point, I'm not tucked under the covers anymore. I'm sitting straight up in bed. My feet are under the covers still, and I don't know what to do. So I turn around, I try shaking up one of my parents awake, probably my mom, and I think either her or both my parents wake up. By the time I turn around, of course, these ladies are gone. So then they take me out into the hallway. I think my grandma's room is the first at the end of the hallway. And they go and get me a big old lamp. And for the rest of that night, and probably many nights after, I sleep with this lamp on. My family doesn't stay in this house for too long after. My parents and I end up moving to Edmonton, which is 3 hours away. And the rest of my family, my grandma, my aunts, and my uncles end up moving to a different house soon after too, I believe, within the year. The next story, I'm much older. I think I'm in junior high or high school, and I'm living in Edmonton at the time still, and I take probably the Red Arrow bus to Calgary, a 3-hour bus ride. My uncle picks me up. Now, I don't really like using the nasty bus bathrooms, so I really have to pee at that point. And I might have also forgotten a couple things when I was packing, like a toothbrush or something. So we head to the Country Hills Superstore. I've been to the Superstore many times, nothing has happened there before. But this time it was just a little eerie and different. It happened to be Friday the 13th and also one of the days where there was a full moon. So I'm going into the Superstore. The first place I hit up is the bathroom. I don't know how much cleaner it is than a Red Arrow bathroom. But anyways, nature calls and I go into the bathroom and I'm the only one there. I mean, it's not that odd, but usually when I'm using like a Walmart or a Superstore bathroom, which is pretty rare, there are many other people inside. And outside of the bathroom, the store was really, really busy. Maybe people just getting stuff for the weekend. So I'm using the bathroom. I think I picked like the middle stall because I don't like the stall closest to the door. I'm doing my business and all of a sudden all the stalls around me, I think maybe there was a total of between 3 and 5 stalls, all of them start flushing in unison, and there's nobody else in the bathroom. The door to the bathroom is closed and it never opened after I went in, and there's no like cleaner in there. I can't see any other feet or anything, and they're just like flushing again and again. So I hurry up, I get there out of there as fast as I can, and I'm just like really creeped out, but then I continue grocery shopping and nothing else happens for the rest of that day. And that is my Friday the 13th toilet story. The very last story is about sleep paralysis. So I've never experienced sleep paralysis before this moment, and I'm not really sure if it even is true sleep paralysis. If you don't know, sleep paralysis is when you wake up, whenever you're waking up, and you can't get out of bed, you can't move any parts of your body, and most oftenly, some people report seeing like a shadow type figure hovering at the end of their bed. So I think it was a weekend, I don't know why, but I was sleeping on my own in our bedroom here in the condo, and I was listening to this podcast I always listen to, Two Girls, One Ghost, and on there they usually tell ghost stories and stuff, but this particular podcast episode was about sleep paralysis, and I think I fell asleep listening to it, so I was pretty primed. Anyway, so I wake up from my dream. It's daytime, I can tell, because we have these like full blinds, and you can see the light peeking out from around the perimeter of the blinds. So I wake up, except this time when I wake up, I cannot move. It feels like my blanket is a weighted blanket, even though it's not, and I can kind of like, I don't see a shadow figure, but I can kind of like feel it. So I'm trying to move, I can't. Probably like 5 seconds passes, and eventually I can pull my blanket off from over me. The next thing I do, because I'm kind of scared at this point, and I was just listening to something scary the night before, I go and open our curtains, our blinds, and I'm pulling it down, and it is quite heavy. I'll insert a clip here. So I'm sleeping here, stuck under the covers, and then once I'm able to get out, I walk over to these curtains here, and I'll show you how heavy it is. Because I think the scariest part was trying to open these heavy curtains, and it taking so long. First of all, being stuck in bed. I'm doing it as fast as I can, which isn't very fast, and once I open the blinds, our room, because we have pretty big windows, is flooded with light. So I'm starting to feel much better. Opening these up, taking so long. Okay, it's bright now, that's good. And then at that point, I don't open the other blind because I just kind of want to open the door and stuff. So I go to open the door, I put my hand on the knob, I turn it. Instantly, I am again back in bed, eyes closed, eyes open, waking up, and again trapped, unable to move in a dark room. I don't think I have my like this thingy here at the time. It was just the door, no robe, so it wasn't like, sometimes when I sleep this robe like casts a shadow. So this door was completely empty. It was just me walking up to the doorknob, turning the doorknob, and being back here under the covers. So I think the contrast between the bright and the dark, the timing and not getting out, was really scary. But this happens several more times, so that same process happens again. And on the third time, when I'm feeling this shadow figure presence, I can't move or speak, but in my mind I'm just kind of like yelling, like, get out of my home, you don't belong here, this is my place, and sent back to bed one more time after trying to open the door. But then when I wake up for real. Another reason why this story is extra scary to me, other than the fact that I'm experiencing this newfound potential sleep paralysis, like nightmare dream, is that Two Girls, One Ghost, they call themselves the most haunted podcast in America. So I don't live in America, but there are stories associated with their podcast from people that have never even heard of them before. Like they're just driving and all of a sudden their podcast starts playing and something kind of scary happens, or they are told about the podcast from a friend and then they start losing like bits of time in their memory. So I thought that was super interesting that I was listening to this podcast and that occurred the next day. It really stood out to me from my other nightmares, which I have frequently because of the sleep paralysis scenario. So I hope you enjoyed listening to my scary story. Comment down below if you've had some yourself. Halloween is quickly approaching. Take care, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next video.